Super Earth, our home. Prosperity, liberty, and democracy. Our way of life. But it doesn't come free. It is every man, woman, and child's duty.
Dropping equipment.
To protect our home, our culture, and our families. Join the Helldivers.
My love for top-down shooters surges for many reasons, the main being the simplicity of it all, the ability to pick up and play a game that doesn't need you to do anything but aim in one direction and unload on your digital enemy. Every year we see tons of these easy-to-engage bullet fests hit our digital store shelves that hopefully will fill in a weekend of brain-dead fun until those heavy hit releases come a-knockin'. Arrowhead Games' Helldivers has slightly different plans though, suiting you up as one of Super Earth's millions of aspiring galactic peacekeepers that sees you wage a bloody and somewhat suicidal campaign for interstellar dominance. The question though is, can Helldivers deliver something new and inspiring for future releases of twin-stick shooters yet to come, or is this yet just another game ready to fall in line?
Become more than you are. Become a hero. Become a legend.
Small studio titles are becoming something to look out for, and Helldivers is really no different. This time you play as an aspiring grunt, led on by your government to pick up arms in hopes of saving our world for justice and democracy. But what about your enemy? Well, how about 3 separate species all pushing your military back with a one-way conclusion of total annihilation? But what Super Earth didn't tell you was that this is going to be one hell of a suicide mission. Seriously, you're gonna die. Like a lot. Throughout Helldivers you travel to multiple planets, varying with increasing difficulties, that when liberated will keep the Xenos back, and maybe, just maybe, conquering them in return and teaching them all a few manners. From enlisting as a trooper, you begin to slowly go up the ranks, unlock new weapons and become hardened enough to tackle the toughest missions. But you can't do this alone. Helldivers excels in putting you under pressure. As you select missions and drop pod down, you are tasked with completing all set objectives, extracting, and also staying alive in the process. Supporting you are potentially 3 other patriotic gamers fighting for the same goals, and through Helldivers, you are really going to learn to work together. This is done mainly through the game's everlasting need to get you killed. Teammates can shoot you, drop pods can squish you, giant alien death crabs will gobble you whole, and even the environment is waiting to screw you over. Coordination is key, and only by playing your role will you succeed and help the entire community push the progress bar further and conquer one planetary system at a time. The entire process is very rinse and repeat, but with 10 different planet difficulties to select, you have a lot of skill space to cover depending on your threshold for success. You can conquer the easier planets, but it won't exactly bring that victory any closer. The fact harder lands seduce you with promising new gadgets and special weapons doesn't help either, like unlocking mechanized tanks or even orbital nuclear bombardments. There is always some kind of carrot on the end of the stick, and you'll die over and over again just to munch on its sweet juices. Now while it does all feel a little repetitive as mentioned, the randomness of its in-game situations makes Helldivers feel somewhat insanely every time. Everything from holding down a simple control point can become a nail-biter, and it's accomplished by the game's always outnumbering enemies versus your ragtag team of fairly equipped troopers. It directly feeds ever nostalgic feelings of Starship Troopers Terran Ascendancy, a game many years ahead of its time, and this is a good thing, because we have needed a game like that for so long. In a way it gives itself an alluring epic aura at times, like escaping from a nuke-timed bug hole only to survive from diving out of the explosion through sheer luck. Death is a common occurrence, as you have probably seen now, but it doesn't feel frustrating. Calling in reinforcements only to be killed by your friend's drop pod is actually one of the many chuckle-worthy outcomes, and its further gameplay is all completely driven by player-dependent skill. Spatial awareness, ammo consumption, and task management all become key personal goals, and this is rather surprising for such a simple to the core game. This is mixed up even more with 3 rivaling factions, all boasting distinct looks, units, and AI. The crab-like bugs, for instance, always prefer to pressure through zombie horde-like methods, while the cyborgs deploy heavy-caliber ranged attacks and mechanized units. The Illuminates though mix both together, while also having their own individual feel, and it allows you the player to gain an ever-open buffet of optional challenges. You could say it keeps you on your toes, and always changing your tactics depending on the foe. To combat these oppressors is a huge arsenal of unlockable guns, tools, and stratagems. The stratagems allow parties to complement each other in ways of suiting every situation, like having one player deploying time-slowing particle clouds, while another keeps the team filled with ammo, or covered with blind-firing turret platforms. The best part is that everything is upgradable through separate tech trees, like decreasing stratagem deployment times or giving your assault rifles armor-penetrating rounds. There is tons to achieve, and that is of course done by collecting scattered research samples and surviving to breathe another day. It gives you a reason to push in the ever-going war, and it is these incentives that a lot of the recent games have sorely missed in rewarding their most dedicated. This product doesn't come without some slip-ups though, and Helldivers' overall conclusion is pretty much flat. After all the work the community completes, it feels a little dissatisfying to be treated to what can be seen as a very limited in-game cutscene and text box. There is no endgame loot, no prize, just the acknowledgement that the community did this together. The variety in its missions do suffer a little too, because of each planet's very unimaginative environment design. The final mission for each race also feels just like the originals you have died on before, but with very small aesthetic tweaks. Visually, Helldivers isn't the prettiest game by a long shot, but its held-back looks make sense because of its need to seamlessly allow fair love between cross-play devices like the PlayStation 4, 3, and Vita. To its credit, I didn't actually mind, and the ability to play with friends through multiple platforms is an incredible bonus. It also makes up for it with the smaller details. Bullets eject with a nice smoky effect, and seeing a proper reload animation with abandoned clips and all is something I always look out for. The game's atmosphere is definitely something to commend too, like pre-mission prepping, seeing you load up with your team, and even enter and insert via drop pod really gets the blood running from the get-go. The camera can at times leave a lot to be desired, especially with immense enemy numbers that can become hidden from the rather closed-in camera. This can and will lead to off-screen attacks, and really it's one of Helldivers' only annoyances. In all honesty though, I wish I had more to say about its soundtrack, which feels like the entire adventure is running to a limiting 1 or 2 tunes. The main theme is incredibly patriotic and it helps sell the tone, but maybe having varying music for different races would have helped things not feel so similar. Helldivers is a fun, promising start to what could be a major indie series. Its inventive investment to making the gaming community work together as a whole, be it through defending cities, helping others unlock stratagems, or just playing together in general, is what makes Helldivers' take on a cooperative shooter one going in the right direction. Proxy playthroughs gives Helldivers a delicately yum gold muffin, but what do you think of Helldivers? Proxy would love to know, but until next time, ciao.